Well, hello everyone.
Hi, good evening.
Are we good to start, Ronit? All right. Waiting for others to join in. Thank you so much for all of you who've shown up. My name is Mugdha Pradhan. I am the CEO and founder of iThrive. And today we are going to talk about psoriasis. We do these once a month sessions to kind of just spread knowledge, bring about awareness of different dysfunctions that a lot of people could be suffering from. And we do this with the intent of giving knowledge out, showing it to people. All right, I'm getting a message saying can't hear clearly. Let me just check if, just tell me if this is working better. Is this better? Uh, Voice is clear, better. Still not good, Hemal?
Yes, okay, audible.
So I think from our side, we are good. Hemal, I think it's your setting. Just check your internet stream and it should fix it because everyone else is saying that it's working for them. All right, so coming back to where I was, this is Mugdha Pradhan. I'm the CEO and founder of iThrive, and welcome to our Psoriasis Decoded webinar. We do these once a month on a Friday evening, so thank you so much for all of you who've shown up. Why do we do these? Well, our vision is to really create a planet that's free of diseases. We want to create healthier, happier, lifestyle disease-free communities across the world every single day. And often we found that people suffer from diseases, people have complex issues, but they lack the knowledge or they've not even been told that it's actually really easy to reverse a lot of these diseases or to end their suffering. So that's the reason why we started doing these webinar series once a month. We've done two in the past, 2 or 3. We've done one on depression, we've done one on weight loss, and we've done one on diabetes. So if any of you are interested in listening to those transcripts or watching those videos, just message on the group and Ronit can share the link to those also. But today we're going to primarily talk about psoriasis. And I have increasingly seen in my consults that the incidence of psoriasis or the number of people suffering from it has gone up. So today we're going to talk about what is psoriasis, why does it happen, how do you find out what is the reason it's happening either for you or people you love and care about that are in your life, and what can you do about it. Usually this doesn't go beyond an hour. Sometimes if it does, then it's only if there are a lot of questions. So if you have any questions as I'm going through this, please put them in the chat. I'll get to the questions towards the end, okay? Because otherwise it kind of just breaks the flow. So let me get started. What is psoriasis? It's a skin disease, okay? So psoriasis primarily impacts the skin. There's also psoriatic arthritis, which impacts the joints, but we're going to basically look at the primary definition of psoriasis. It's a skin disease that causes a rash with itchy, scaly patches, most commonly on the knees, elbows, trunk, and scalp, right? So for a lot of people, actually, it starts off in the scalp itself, and then it spreads to the rest of their body. For a lot of people, it starts on the elbows and the knees, and then it spreads upwards. But it's primarily like the beginning or the manifestation starts on the skin itself. What are the different types of psoriasis that we've encountered, we've seen? You have basically based on how it presents, right? What is the manifestation? There are different classifications. I won't get too technical here. If any of you are suffering with any of these individual diagnoses, then please put those questions out. But you have vulgar psoriasis, you have psoriatic erythroderma, you have inverse psoriasis, you have guttate psoriasis, and you have pustular psoriasis. We've actually had more presentations of guttate psoriasis than any others, at least in the work that we do. What does it look like, right? So this is something that I really, because often people confuse dry skin, or people confuse dandruff, or people confuse eczema with psoriasis. So symptoms of psoriasis on your skin can include plaques. What is a plaque? It's like like a scaly formation that can happen on the skin. Okay, so but even before plaques can happen, an early sign is small, tiny bumps. So these bumps start forming on the skin, and then these bumps grow, and then scales form on the top. And then the surface of that plaque, right? So it will be like a slightly thick layer on top of the skin. That surface can shed, but the scales beneath it, right? Like whatever is under that plaque will continue to stick together. Now, if you scratch this rash, because often psoriasis is extremely itchy, and you have this plaque on top, so if you scratch, it will feel like the top layer is coming off, right? The scales might tear away from the skin. This can cause bleeding. Now, as you scratch, basically that rash can continue to grow, and larger areas of skin damage can form. Now, the symptoms of psoriasis, again, depending on your body's resilience, can range from mild to extremely severe. It's not just about the aesthetics of how your skin looks. It's actually quite a life hampering situation, because the plaques or the rashes can be itchy, they can be irritable, they can be very sensitive to changes in water or weather or even different types of clothing. So it's not just a condition that people want to cover up. It's something that actually causes a lot of annoyance through the day. What are the symptoms? Now, in addition to the skin plaques or rash, and I'll talk about why these are additional symptoms, right? Like you'd wonder, why is it that a skin condition could be causing so many other additional symptoms? So, in addition to the skin plaques or the rash, what else can happen is it can trigger cough and sneezing. It can cause an upset stomach. I mean, not that psoriasis will cause it, but these are a cluster of symptoms that accompany psoriasis. There could also be runny nose. There could be edema. Edema is basically swelling of the face and the hands and the feet. Constant itching is there. Redness of skin is there. And lacrimation means there could be a constant flow of tears from the eyes that are coming. Plus, skin looks cracked and dry. Nails can look pitted, right? Which means that basically in your nails there are small like bumps that are happening inside. You could have joint pain. We've seen that in psoriatic arthritis, that there's a lot of arthritic pain. Okay, so people would assume it's arthritis, but the root cause is basically psoriasis that's causing the pain. What causes psoriasis? We'll get into the actual true root causes, but what we are looking at is basically why does this happen to the skin? Okay, so this is your normal skin. You have your dermis, epidermis, the follicles, and all of that, the subcutaneous fat, all of that there. In psoriasis, what happens is the immune system has gone into an overreactive mode, which means it's reacting beyond necessity. It's just getting triggered by something. Okay, so that overreactive, highly triggered immune system starts creating inflammation on your skin. So this is what normal skin should look like. This is what skin with psoriasis looks like. It's red, it's inflamed, it's got a lot of buildup of dead tissue and skin cells on it. See, your immune system, it's supposed to destroy foreign invaders like bacteria and mold and fungus. Viruses also. So our immune system is supposed to keep the foreign guys out of the system, and our immune system is supposed to protect us. That is the purpose of the immune system. What happens in any kind of autoimmune condition, psoriasis included, is our immune system, while attempting to attack these foreign invaders, while attempting to attack something that is triggering the immune reaction, right? It knows there's something that should not be there in the body. It's attempting to attack that, but in that process, it can accidentally mistake healthy cells for foreign invaders. Now, when your own skin cells are being attacked, right? When your own bodily tissue is being attacked, that starts creating inflammation, or that starts creating swelling. It's also one way your body is communicating to you, hey, there's something inside and I am beyond my capacity to deal with. I really can't fight. So I'm bringing it to your attention. Please do something about it. Like it might sound very funny that I'm telling you that the body speaks to us like this, but every symptom that you experience, psoriasis is one dysfunction we're talking about, right? But even a headache, even weight gain, even like low energy, every symptom that a person experiences is basically the body communicating with you, saying something is wrong inside, please, I'm showing you different ways in which I can tell you that something is wrong. Do something to fix it, right? It's really your body calling out your attention. So in psoriasis, the body is using your skin cells and skin inflammation to bring to your attention that there is something inside your body that's triggering your immune system and that's making your immune system go nuts. So how do we then find out what is this something, right? So basically what we are saying is, what we are saying is something is triggering your immune system and causing it to be overreactive. The goal is not to suppress your immune system, because we'll see how conventional medicine actually treats psoriasis, and you'll see that what they are primarily attempting to do is just suppress this, right? Your body is sending you a message, your body is sending you a signal, it's creating all of this inflammation and rashes trying to talk to you. Conventional medicine will just totally suppress these symptoms and prevent the body from talking to you. So then how do you find out, right? How do you figure out what is at the root? Why is your body going haywire? What is really triggering this inflammation? You'll use data from your own body. Okay, so your body is trying to communicate with you. Now, how do you understand the message? You start learning how to interpret that message. How do you interpret that message? We use blood tests, and we often sometimes use advanced tests also to look for the root causes. Okay, so what are the usual root causes? What are the things that cause psoriasis in the first place? In our work so far, in all the cases that we worked with, the most common denominator, what we found is infections. So when you say pathogens, these are bacteria, viruses, or fungi that are not really good for your body. These are microbes or microorganisms that are harmful for you. Often when there is an overload of these microorganisms, right, when it becomes infectious, either in the gut or in your bloodstream or in some other organ system, it can trigger a psoriatic condition. Now, why would someone get one autoimmune disease and why would someone get another, right? Why would one person get fibromyalgia with the same pathogen and why would another person get psoriasis? Simply because our genes are the ones that are controlling the expression of disease or health, right? So depending on your genetic makeup, you might express a disease in some place, you might express health in some place. Depending on your genetic makeup, if you have pathogens or infections in your body, you might have one kind of disease and another person can have another kind of disease, right? So in psoriasis, people often have a genetic tendency to exhibit psoriatic lesions, but the root cause often is either they are like pathogens or there are toxins. What do I mean by toxins? These are chemicals that are coming from our environment that are accumulating in our body and now they are triggering our immune system, right? So our immune system is like, okay, there's too much of a chemical load, I really can't deal with it. And maybe your detox pathways are blocked, maybe your liver is overloaded, maybe there are deficiencies because of which the toxins are not being eliminated from your body. And now because there's such a high toxin buildup, it's triggering that immune system response, which is then causing something like psoriasis in your body. The third reason we found in some of our cases, like see, the most common reason we found is pathogens, infections. The second we found is like a buildup of toxins and the inability to detox. The third reason we found often is food allergies. If someone is eating food that their body is super sensitive to, including something like dairy or gluten, or they're eating a lot of inflammatory food, that can trigger an immune response, right? Because the body can't recognize what this thing is, or the body is like, okay, this food doesn't work for me and I'm going to like just try and fight it. When that happens, it can trigger a psoriatic condition for those who are genetically primed for it. So these are the three things we've discovered in our work so far. But how do we even know what is really at the root, right? So let's start off with this is the process that we have. We get someone's basic blood work done. This is a example of someone who had psoriasis actually. This is a screenshot of their blood test. So if you notice what's happening here is this entire panel, right? So the WBC, the markers for infection and inflammation, are showing us that, and if you see even in the percentage saturation, we're seeing chronic infection come up. But these markers are showing me very clearly that the immune system is highly triggered and that immune response is showing up in the analysis, right? So we are like, this is the pattern that we would see in someone who has an autoimmune kind of a trigger going on. And then we see eosinophils high, much beyond our optimal range. And that is typically seen in conditions such as psoriasis or ulcerative colitis. So what you can see from here, the reason why I put the screenshot is, this person came to us with psoriasis, okay, and they didn't know why it was happening. Now we told them, you know what, let's first just get your basic blood work done and see what's the pattern that's coming up. Because sometimes we see oxidative stress, which would be indicating toxins. In this person's case, we clearly saw that a lot of markers that were indicating infections were high. So we knew that there is some underlying infection that is creating this particular autoimmune disease in his case. What we did next, in this particular cases, we began to run some advanced tests. Now, why advanced tests? Can we not just work with basic blood work? We can. Okay, yes, we can. And we've done that, right? For many people, we've used basic blood work itself because the advanced tests are quite investment intensive. So we've just used basic blood work and we've seen, okay, there seems to be like a very high infectious pattern and the infections are pointing towards like a viral or the liver is overburdened. And what we did is with food, with the right kind of supplements, with a lot of herbs from the kitchen, we started bringing that infection load down and this person actually showed the kind of turnaround we wanted to see. But there are cases where we might want to go deeper and actually target the exact infection or the pathogen that's creating the disease, right? And in that case, we use advanced tests like this. This is called as the GI map test. So this one is super useful in identifying which particular gut disbalance is creating psoriasis. A lot of you who are attending this webinar, if you already have a diagnosis of psoriasis or someone you love has a diagnosis of psoriasis, if you've gone to alternative practitioners, they might have told you that, you know, the gut, so gut health is really important. If your gut is imbalanced, it could cause any kind of autoimmune conditions. This is what we've seen in our work also. If the gut is not functioning well, it can immediately trigger an autoimmune condition. So see this particular report. So this GI map test is a test where, you know, stool sample is sent, we send it to the US lab and they map out all the microorganisms that are there inside your body. And based on that finding, then we are able to do targeted treatment. Okay, so in this person's case, he had a very high fungal load of candida. And we've seen that in psoriasis or a lot of the skin conditions, fungal overgrowth or candida is often the root cause of why it's happening. So in this case, we found candida and we could do really targeted treatment towards bringing that candida or fungal load down. And I'll show you some screenshots, right? Like people have actually seen their psoriasis reverse. The next test is this particular autoimmune panel. So sometimes your gut might not have the infection. That infection could be somewhere else in your body. This is another case where, so this is a blood test, right? Like it's an advanced test where we send the blood sample to check for whatever kind of autoimmune conditions might be there. And if you see this particular case, the candida load in the bloodstream. So in the gut, there was no candida, but in the bloodstream, we found very high candida levels, which was triggering that autoimmune kind of a thing, right? So if you see, there are many. So this is Stachybotrys. It's a mycotoxin. It's a mold. It's toxic mold. So this person had very high levels of this toxic mold. Then there are other viruses that are there. So there's mold, there's Aspergillus, which is another mold, and then there's Klebsiella, which is a bacteria, there is a virus, and there's Candida, which is a fungus, right? So all of these guys together were nicely having a party inside this person's body. And while they were doing that, what was happening is this person was experiencing this autoimmune condition called psoriasis, right? Because that is what genetically this person was primed for. Okay, this is another test we ran when the autoimmune and the GI map was not really showing any kind of infection. But in the blood test, in the basic blood test, like the screenshot I had shown you earlier, this was another person's case. What we saw is the toxic load was seeming to be very high. There was a very high level of toxicity in the body. So we ran this advanced chemical toxicity screen and we found this particular thing, right? So this BPA. BPA comes into our bodies through plastic, Tupperware, if you're drinking water from plastic bottles, if you're eating food from plastic containers. Your BPA levels could be high. So what we found was in this person's case, because of this like mild toxin overload, the body was kind of getting triggered into an autoimmune reaction. But this is rare. Like mostly we found, like I said earlier also, we found it's infections either in the gut or in the bloodstream that trigger this psoriasis kind of a condition. Okay, so how is psoriasis treated? Conventional medicine, if you've gone to doctors already, there are many options that they have. What are those options? One is they will use steroid creams, right? So hydrocortisone creams, because that reaction that's happening on your body is an inflammatory response. Your body's immune system is creating inflammation in your skin, trying to talk to you. What conventional medicine will do is it wants to suppress all of these symptoms. So it will give you steroid creams, and those steroid creams make the inflammations come down at a surface level. That it's not treating the root cause, right? So for some days, people experience some relief. We've seen this even in kids' cases, right? Like young children who experience psoriasis, often their pediatricians will immediately recommend a steroid cream. And for 1 or 2 months, it will be okay. But because the root cause has not been fixed, immediately in 2 months, it will actually come back even more stronger than it was before. Then like the assumption is the skin is dry, so they'll give moisturizers. Sometimes they give this medication to slow skin cell production, right? It's called anthraline, because the assumption is that, oh, you're having psoriasis because your skin is multiplying very fast. They don't understand that like the basic root causes, there's an immune response, and it's trying to like increase that skin cell production to kind of deal with whatever infection is there inside. Medicated lotions and shampoos, so antifungal, usually it's ketoconazole soaps and shampoos and lotions that are recommended. So ketoconazole is an antifungal molecule, and it's there in quite a few prescription personal care products. Again, that is trying to treat the fungal infection at the skin level without seeing where else it could be in the body, or doing a systemic cleanse of the body's infection. Vitamin D3 ointment. D3 is anti-inflammatory, D3 is antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial. So sometimes D3 ointment is used. Vitamin A or retinoid creams. Again, see, vitamin A is something that smooths the skin, right? Like it's supposed to create like really smooth epithelial cell function. So vitamin A can smooth the skin temporarily, and that might make a patient feel like, oh, this is going off, but it's still not treating the root cause. So these are things that they're using, but they are so wrong and so far off the actual way to treat psoriasis. That's why most people don't see a resolution when they go to conventional medicine, and they're often told that psoriasis is an autoimmune condition that's irreversible. How do we deal with this? We find the root cause. I showed you how we find the root cause, right? We look at blood tests, we do advanced tests, we figure out what is going on. Once we know exactly what the root cause is, then we start using customized treatment. Now, I will give you some tips today towards the end on what you could do starting off today. But if like at an individual level, no, we really have to dig deep and find out what is going on. So do you need herbs? Do you need to like take antifungals? Do you need to take antivirals, antibacterials? Do you need supplements? Maybe your zinc levels are really low. Maybe your vitamin D levels are really low. Maybe you're a vegetarian or a vegan and you're not getting enough B complex, right? So all of these nutrients are really important for your body's immune system to fight back that infection or just build itself up. Or like maybe you're not getting enough protein in your diet, right? And then without enough protein, how is your skin going to heal itself? So it becomes super important to really customize the treatment protocol. And when I say treatment, these are not medicines. The treatment is with food, okay? Because food is really the only medicine you need. So to know what food to recommend, to know what is it that we need to do in terms of planning someone's dietary protocol, to know which supplements are to be given. To do that, it is important for us to find out the root cause and see what is going on internally in the body. Okay, so customized treatment really depends on what are the root causes we find. And like you can see, it's very research based. And I mean, the reason why we are doing these seminars and these webinars also are to share our research, right? Like these are the things we found about psoriasis. These are often the root causes about psoriasis. So even when we treat someone, it's very, very research based, it's very knowledge based. And then the focus is, of course, on making it a holistic healing program. Now, when I say holistic, this is what I mean. It's not just about the food. It's not just about the supplements. It's not just about which antifungal herbs and antiviral herbs and teas to give. We have to understand that the human being beyond food needs many other things, right? We need sunshine. We need clean air. We need water. We need to ground ourselves. We need to have a connection with earth. And more important than all of this, we really need to learn how to deal with stress and to have all the tools and techniques at our disposal so that we can basically, no matter what life throws at us, we can deal with it. Okay. Because what I've seen in my work is, we found the root causes technically with all the research, we found like whatever we had to do, we know that. But often in a lot of people's cases, so they're doing the protocol, they're eating the right kind of food, they're seeing that the symptoms are actually going off, skin is becoming better. But the minute they experience some kind of psychological or emotional stress and trauma, there's a flare up. Okay. So often our body's immune system actually gets compromised when at an emotional level, at a psychological level, we have some stressor that comes to us that we can't deal with. So I found that giving people tools for that, it could be breath work, it could be gratitude journaling, it could be meditative practices, it could be vagus nerve activation practices. Like there are so many different ways of doing this. But giving people those tools, helping people uncover their trauma, helping people understand where they could be losing their energy without really having the right kind of boundaries in place, where they could be living a life that they're not happy with, and that is what is causing all the immune system weakness. Helping someone understand that also is an integral part of creating healing for someone. Okay, so it's not just about technical. It's not just about blood test and analysis, because that any software could also do, na? Why are humans needed to activate and trigger the healing process so that these aspects also could be covered, right? So when I say holistic healing, this is what I mean, that beyond food, beyond supplements, beyond even lifestyle interventions like sleeping on time and watching less digital media and beyond that, you also have to understand that each human being is a living, breathing, conscious entity made up of emotions, made up of thoughts, made up of so many patterns from the past that if those are not looked at, healing remains incomplete. Okay, so that's our method. We really go like all over and make sure that healing is happening at all levels. So even if you don't sign up with us, right, for like working on your psoriasis, here are some tips that I wanted to leave with you. I'm not checking the chat, but please leave your questions in the chat. Once I finish this presentation, I will go look at the chat and answer individual questions. What could you do from today? Step one, eliminate inflammatory foods from your diet. When I say eliminate inflammatory foods, what am I talking about? These are foods that trigger, again, an immune response. And what kind of foods are these? Processed foods, dairy is inflammatory for a lot of people. Gluten is known to be inflammatory. Okay, so I know a lot of you will say, but we're Indians, we've been eating chapatis for so long. It's just that the wheat our ancestors ate is not the same wheat that we are eating. Today's wheat is highly genetically modified. It's been made drought resistant, pest resistant, and like too many chemicals go into growing that wheat. So if you're someone suffering from psoriasis, just cut out all forms of wheat, even khapli, like emmer wheat, right? Like a lot of people come to me and say that, oh, khapli gau is heirloom wheat and it should not really be impacting me, but just cut it out and see if it makes an impact. Sugar, refined white sugar is terrible, because if you have a fungal, like if you have candida, if you remember those two advanced tests that I showed also, both of them had very high candida loads, right? So if you have a lot of candida or a fungal load and that's triggering your psoriasis, sugar is literally feeding that fungus and it's giving it more superpowers to harm your body. So sugar, dairy, wheat, cut these out. Eliminate seed oils. If you go check my social media feed, if you look at what iThrive talks about, we are often asking people to cut out seed oils. Seed oils are oils that come from any kind of vegetable seed. So mustard, groundnut, sunflower, safflower, sesame, right? So til ka tel, sarson ka tel, mungfali or singdana, right? All of these oils are very, very inflammatory. They can trigger inflammation. Please eliminate this. Instead of that, just switch to ghee or coconut oil or butter. These are much better in terms of fats that your body can use. Eliminate processed food. I don't even have to like explain why, but like you can't really expect to heal if you're eating Maggie and biscuits and Haldiram's Chuda and Kellogg's cornflakes. These are foods that really hurt our body. Okay, there is no nutrition in them. These are designed by evil engineers in food companies to kind of make you addicted to these foods. So just eliminate these processed foods. Even if your psoriasis doesn't fully reverse, you'll actually start feeling better. Include dietary supplements, important to ensure that your body is functioning at its best, but do this only after doing your blood test, okay? Because you don't want to take every supplement that is available in the market. If your body is receiving that from food, you don't need to supplement for it, okay? A lot of people take multivitamins every day. You don't need to take multivitamins. There are some supplements that are not there in food. Magnesium is one of those. We've seen that most people's modern day diets are completely devoid of magnesium. And magnesium is required in nearly 3,000 different energetic pathways inside our body. So it's a super important nutrient. Take magnesium every day. Vitamin D also, I would recommend getting your blood work done and then seeing if you need vitamin D. But in most people with psoriasis, we found that their vitamin D levels are really low. So magnesium, vitamin D, I can still recommend. But for every other nutrient, no, whether you should supplement or not, you should first do your blood test and then see if there's a need, because like you could have a deficiency and that's causing health problems. You could have an overdose and that could also cause health problems. Okay, it is possible to overdose on any nutrient if you're taking them supplementally. So always get blood work done and then see if you need that supplement. Okay, just sharing some success stories. So there is this person who's talking of improvement in skin issues, itchiness and rashes, and she's saying that psoriasis on both legs also has subsided by 20-30%. This person actually he was on oral steroids, right? So he had an autoimmune, like this, he's the autoimmune condition that he's speaking of, his psoriasis. He was given a lot of oral steroids and then that caused a lot of other problems. So weight gain, hair loss, all of that was happening. He really didn't know if he could help or not. He just came, somebody helped me. And he lost 11 kgs. His skin started to glow, body felt much lighter, and all the inflammation went down. So this is another case. So this is one more case where, like, you know, over time we were tracking the progression. So initially he said like the patches on forehead were still flaky, itches come, but they're not severe. And then over time, look at this, right? I'm really good. It's been more than 7 days and my skin is really feeling good. Flakes are not recurring, no gastric issues, no acidity, nothing. So why am I sharing these success stories, right? Because for a lot of you who are watching this, it might be hard to believe that it is possible to actually become healthy again. Conventional medicine or, you know, regular doctors often take away that belief and hope from us that you could really heal. But look at these stories, right? These are people who have experienced healing. So I want to share these stories with you because I want your mind, I want your brain to understand that healing from any condition, including an autoimmune one and psoriasis, which looks so terrible, it is possible if you know how to heal from it, right? When I say how to heal from it, what are you required to do? You're required to look for the root cause. Okay, you look at your blood work, see what is coming up as a pattern. Based on that pattern, you can choose to do advanced tests. We can guide you on that. Based on those advanced test findings, then you start figuring out what are the exact solutions and finding that solution in terms of the treatment as well as like approaching ourselves as a whole is really what starts creating a turnaround. Okay, so that's why I wanted to share these stories that this is possible. You don't need to suffer. You can have your quality of life back. I can really get back to feeling healthy, right? So I'm done with my presentation. But I'm now going to look at the questions that are here and okay, voices. Okay, the first few messages are voice is not clear, voice is not clear, better, no. Okay, all right. Okay. Screen PPT is not very clear. Okay, I saw this message late. I hope. And anyway, we'll send a recording of this, right? So in the recording that we do, the screen will be very, very clear. So you can go through the recording. Price of the GI map test, I think because it's a sample that has to be sent to the US, even the test is done in the US, it works out to around 38 or 39,000, but trust me, it is totally worth it. Which oil to be taken? So I mentioned that, right? Ghee, butter, coconut oil in that order. Which food have good source of magnesium? So unfortunately, our food has actually become really, really deficient in magnesium, and even our ancestors, right? How they got magnesium in the past was through like magnesium from the water and the streams that they would drink from, right? So magnesium would basically get dissolved from the rocks, mixed in the water, and when they would like be hunting, gathering, and foraging, they would get that mineral, right? The magnesium because of the water. Now, in our lives, most of us are dependent on corporation water, and because that water is so contaminated with heavy metals and other things, we have we need to use filters, we need to use RO and all of that, and then that takes away the minerals that might be there, right? So we don't really get enough magnesium in our bodies from our food and our water. So we have to supplement magnesium. There is no better way to get it inside our system than supplementation. I take magnesium supplements every day, twice a day. Does seizure medicine? Yes, seizure medications do have side effects on skin. It's in fact even like if you look at the printed material, right? The labels on these medications, the side effects will list skin issues, skin dryness, skin rashes. With eliminating seed oil and taking saturated fat would not lead to other health issues. No, Adiba. The biggest misinformation in today's times is to think that saturated fat could cause cholesterol and heart issues. We've done quite a bit of content on this on our social media platforms. Go take a look at it. Seed oils are the contributors to inflammation. Saturated fat is healthy. It is not to be feared. Okay, it does not cause increase in cholesterol. Do you have a setup in Mumbai? Anupam, we actually do all our work online. So our office is in Pune, but we work with people across the globe. So reach out to us. I've put that number in the last slide. Reach out to us and we can help you in case you need to get in touch with you. Which is a test that I need to do to see if I have psoriasis or some other skin condition. Geeta, I think a consult would be better because I don't even know what are the actual symptoms you're having. So I would recommend you get on a consult, and then in the consult, we can even like on the video call, see what's really going on your skin and then recommend the further test for you. What test to be done if you have thyroid and psoriasis? Shobha, so this definitely seems like something is being caused by an infection because we've seen this, like autoimmune conditions come in pairs or come in groups. So you could have one autoimmune condition and another system in your body could get impacted. So the tests to be done, best is you reach out to us, get the full basic blood test panel, the ones that we can do in India, right? Like any lab will do those tests. See what is the pattern coming up. Is it an infectious pattern coming up? If it is an infectious pattern coming up, then we can recommend advanced tests. No, the advanced tests, Hemal, are not compulsory. So Hemal's question is, all tests are compulsory. So see, one is I understand that these tests are very expensive, right? Like the Cyrex test also goes to around 40,000. So not everyone would have the luxury of investing in these tests, and they are not compulsory. Like I showed you in that one slide, remember, where like through the basic blood work only, like WBC or CBC panel, right? CBC panel, liver function, kidney function test, which you can get done in India. From that only we could see there was an infectious pattern. So even if you can't invest in the advanced test, from that basic blood work, we can help bring the infections down. Soumyadeep is saying, I know one guy, a cloth merchant, got psoriasis. He got it through cloth. Is it possible through different kinds of cloth? I mean, say allergies from different kinds of cloth. It's quite possible that this person could be sensitive to a certain fabric, like any synthetic fabrics could trigger an immune response. It's also possible that the underlying condition was already there and that fabric just triggered something that was there, right? It just made it go boom. So it's not just that the cloth created psoriasis, it was already happening internally and then the fabric might have triggered it. It's just a possibility. Any suggestion for magnesium supplement? Good one name. We make our own magnesium sapna. I think, Ronit, if you're there in the audience, can you just put the link on for the magnesium supplement and how someone could buy it? What is your comment on taking non-vegetarian sources of vitamin D? See, vitamin D in food also is present in very trace amounts. The best way of getting vitamin D is sun exposure. You expose your skin like our skin is like solar panel, right? And the lesser, like if you're wearing something sleeveless, if you're wearing shorts, and if you're like in the morning sun, there's also this really great app called D-Minder. It's D-MINDER, D-Minder. You can install that app on your phone and you can put your wherever you're located, right? And then whether the weather is cloudy or not, based on that, that app will tell you how much time you need to spend in the sun and how much vitamin D your body might have made with that sunlight exposure. So sun is the best way to get vitamin D. Second to the sun is vitamin D supplements. I have not really found that food, even if you're eating eggs, food is not really a big contributor to the vitamin D levels in someone's bloodstream. Can hair loss be reversed from functional nutrition if we can find the root cause? Okay. So we've actually helped a lot of people recover their hair growth again. But again, it depends on the root cause, right? Like if someone is experiencing severe alopecia areata, which is another autoimmune condition, we might not be too successful there. But it could be deficiencies, it could be toxicity, it could be stress itself. So we can help someone regain or prevent like the hair loss they're experiencing. Can keeping water in earthen pot incorporate magnesium? No. So the clay pots that we get do not have magnesium in them. Magnesium is not present in our environment anymore in the quantities we need, and the risk of using clay pots is sometimes these clay pots are made, you know, there are no very high quality standards on where this clay is coming from. People, and I'd gone and studied this also, like often the clays, it's coming from these river beds and all of that. Most of our rivers are now contaminated with industrial effluents, right? Very little regulation in India on how wastewater can be sent into our water bodies. So most rivers are highly contaminated with industrial effluents. Because of that, these river soils, right, riverbeds are very high in lead and a lot of other toxins. This soil is directly used for making clay pots and earthenware. You could end up with very high lead levels if you're drinking water made in stored in earthen pots all the time. I know this is counter to what a lot of other people say. People will be like, you know, drink matke ka pani, but matke ka pani can bring toxins. Magnesium you will not get even from matke ka pani, okay? So you are not going to get magnesium from earthen pots. Hemal, I think already answered your question. Are all tests compulsory? Is homeopathy an answer to this problem? I haven't studied homeopathy. So I can't comment on it entirely. Is homeopathy the answer or not? But I can tell you this, that a lot of our clients who've come to us with psoriasis, right, they've tried homeopathy, it has not worked, and then they've come to us. So the answer to your question, I can't really give an answer. Thank you, Sunita. I'm glad that the session was informative. What are magnesium supplements? I think Ronit has just put that link. Please share recordings. Yes, Anup, we will be sharing. Alcohol and triggers. Alcohol and cigarette both can trigger. They can trigger any autoimmune flare-up. Okay, why? Because alcohol damages the liver. It really pickles the liver. It creates a huge burden on the liver. Alcohol also depletes a lot of essential nutrients from our body, like B complex, for example, right? Now, if you have an underlying trigger for psoriasis and then you're drinking alcohol, that liver poor thing that's trying to detox your body and try to like hold your immune system in place, it gets overburdened and it crashes, right? So alcohol is definitely something that can trigger. Cigarettes, how they can trigger is that it's not as instant as alcohol, but what cigarettes can do is over time again add to the toxic burden of the body. And then, never good, right? Like, why do you want to intentionally put toxins in your body that can make any possibility, any disease possibility worse? App name, yes, Dr. Suresh Kumar, it's D-Minder, but it's D-Minder. You can find it on the App Store, you'll get it there. Who can take magnesium and who cannot take magnesium? Only people with some kind of a severe kidney disease, right? Like chronic kidney disease or nephrotic syndrome. So if something is wrong with the kidney and if it's not functioning well, that's the only time I would recommend getting your blood work done, checking what is going on, and then taking magnesium under supervision. Otherwise, everyone else can take magnesium. As of now, the best informative webinar from iThrive. Thank you, Mugdha ma'am. Thank you, Soumyadeep. I'm glad there was information. Is psoriasis reversible? Yes, Geeta, that's the screenshots that I was showing earlier. It is reversible. Thank you, Nandini. Thank you, Soumyadeep. Okay. Biologics is useful for psoriasis. I don't know what biologics is, Jayanta. Sorry. But I will look it up, okay? And if I find the answer, I'll put it on the group.
Excuse me, I
IG test will help to the extent to tell you that, okay, there is, so IG stands for immunoglobulin E, and often those antibodies are created when there's an allergic or a parasitic kind of an infection. So IG will tell you that infection is there, like inflammation is there, but it won't tell you exactly what that is. So better to do full blood work and then understand what is really going on internally. How to reduce inflammation? You have to find the root cause of inflammation, right? If you don't know what is triggering your inflammation, you can't reduce the inflammation. It's like when there are different kinds of fires, for example, right? There is a fire that can happen because kerosene spilled somewhere and that caught fire. There can be a fire because paper was burning and there's that fire. Now, if you assume throwing water on fire is the best way to reduce inflammation, that might work for the paper fire. You throw water on a paper fire, that will get extinguished. If you throw water on a kerosene or that kind of fire, that kerosene is going to spread even more with that water and the fire will spread faster. So you have to know what is causing that fire before you can create a solution for that fire. What are your views on phototherapy? It helps, but I haven't gone too deeply into that, right? So even infrared light, what I know is infrared sauna really helps in bringing down the toxin load and actually can be a good adjunct to treat psoriasis. But I haven't gone deep into really learning how phototherapy works fully. So that's my answer to you, Sapna. I think we've covered most of the questions here. Thank you so much, everyone, for being there. This was lovely. We love doing this, really the entire team. So it's not just me sitting here and presenting, right? There's so much effort that's gone into creating this so that it's like the most informative experience that you can have. The marketing team is involved, the research team is involved. So everyone at iThrive is putting their efforts together so that the world around us gets the knowledge that they need. Thank you so much for being here and making it worthwhile for us to do this once a month. Your group will remain active. You can post questions there for the next 24 hours and then we will make it admins only. So do send in your questions. We will share the recording with you mostly latest by Monday evening. So don't panic. Definitely you'll receive the recording, but it's weekend, right? Like Saturday, Sunday, tomorrow. So maybe by Monday evening. And if you want to reach out, if you want to have a consult specific to your conditions, Ronit has put in the link there also. You can book a consult with me, but my time is really limited. I really don't have the bandwidth to do more than one consult a day. If you urgently need to speak with someone, you can book a consult with the health consultants. These are part of our R&D team. They work with active client cases, so really know what to do and what is it that you might want to hear. So I would advise, like, if you're looking for personalized help, please book a consult and take it ahead from there. And yes, follow us on our social media handles, because that's where we post a lot of content beyond our once a month webinars. And thank you so much, Liz. I accept your gratitude. It really makes us happy. All right. So good night. Have a really happy rest of your Friday evening and enjoy your weekend. And anytime you need anything with your health, Team iThrive is always there. All right. So lovely, lovely set of people. Much gratitude to all of you. Good night.